Socceroos, woo!
Up the boys, up the bloody Socceroos.
Welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing, It's a Socceroos Thing. Socceroos 1, Tunisia 0. Australia still in the mix for this year's World Cup. Boys, how are we feeling?
Mate, I think I lost about 25 years off my life watching that game, screaming, swearing, passion, but the boys done it. Big Mitch Duke, what a champion.
What a legend. Scott, how you feeling, my man?
Yeah, pumped, man. Spewing I couldn't be there to watch it with you boys. The COVID got the better of me, but you know what? What COVID, mate? Nothing like a World Cup win to make you feel 100% buzzing. Absolutely buzzing.
It's so awesome, but boys, because look, defended with courage. We could have done better, of course. But, man, considering the context, 4-1 drubbing against France, Tunisia had a very good display against Denmark. A lot of the realists out there had some real question marks. But I tell you what, from start to finish, we'll go through it in great detail. But how good was it overall just to see that awesome spirit we showed?
You know what was interesting, boys? When we looked forward to this match and we talked about what we thought might happen, we kind of said that one of the positives to take away from the France game was that we looked like we could muster up some chances. Then the defense was the questionable part. Tonight, the defensive performance, top notch.
Yeah, what a machine, mate. What a machine.
Hard.
Boys, for me, the lineup, when that came out, there was only really one change, and that was a forced change. But yeah. I think that was our best starting team. I think bringing someone like Qual, Mabil, all those kind of guys on as impact subs is a good idea. But I do think our strongest team started the match. Do you have any issues with the lineup, Robbie?
Look, I'm going to be honest. I did think Kustic was in for. I thought he might have came into the team. I thought they rested him. He got some minutes in the second game. I thought he would have been in there to help, Irvine and Moy in midfield. But look, he came on and he was pretty decent as he came on, as all the players were. I just wish we had that killer instinct a little bit more, man. There was so much space in behind. They were playing such a high line. Their defenders were in our half for quite a lot of the last 20 minutes, man. And I was screaming out for someone with pace like a Mabil to come on and just put the nail in the coffin. But look, we got the job done, mate. I'm just so pumped to be in this position, mate. Like, there's no dead rubber on the last day. We go in. Like I said, obviously there's a result to happen between France and Denmark overnight, but we've put ourselves in a great situation to have an exciting last day.
100%.
I actually thought, to me, just quickly adding to that, obviously there's some great comments in the chat about Suto with those last-ditch tackles. He threw his body in the line. He got down injured, got back up. And obviously, friend of the show, Mitch Duke, with an awesome goal, because not only was his header majestic, what was more majestic was that first touch to get the move going. That was Iniesta-like, as Concierge said in the chat.
What a good win.
What a good win. What a touch, what a run, what a header, mate. It was just one of those classic goals. But it was more important than that, was that everybody came there and contributed more than what they could on an individual level. Yes, we could have had more composure in those moments in the second half. But overall, man, look, Tunisia had a couple of opportunities, but Australia, man, they had the lion's share. Like, they fully earned this victory, boys.
Let's come to the goal, boys. Let's come to the goal, because we're, of course, going to chat about the defense. And I thought the defense was fantastic tonight. Obviously, we dropped back after the goal, and particularly the last 20 minutes. We were just inviting pressure, but they stayed calm and they defended quite well. But I want to come to that goal. Mitch Duke, friend of the show, he's been on here before. Go back,
what
check
a legend.
his videos. And we know that he bleeds green and gold. When he was on, you could hear it in his voice. He just loves pulling on that jersey. And you know what? That header, top class. As someone
the
said,
technique, the ball was behind him. He's flicked it. Everything about that was just, he gave everything, and he got kicked tonight. He got stamped on. He dropped on his back. I love that's the definition of true Aussie spirit there, man. I'm so happy for him.
And you've got to give credit to Arnold, boys, because he cops a lot of criticism for his tactics and should he fight fire with fire, and everybody, a lot of us were calling for changes, and one of the changes were should maybe Duke not be the person. But for this particular match, he acted as a very important focal point to get us out of our half and link up with the likes of Moy and Goodwin to go into those channels. So, yeah, his performance, mate, very, very justified to be in that starting lineup.
Dave here shouting out Aziz Bayic. Absolutely. I want to talk about the defense in a sec, boys. Not sure I agree with this one. Horrible decisions by the Aussies. I don't know what the horrible decisions were. I mean, it's a World Cup. It was must win. We had a lead, and we decided to hold it. I think had we gone out gun-ho trying to get the second, we aren't that team. We aren't that team that's going to...
We did have our opportunities to put it to bed, especially that Lecky opportunity.
Yeah.
We could have put it to bed. Again, there was a lot of space in behind, a little bit more calmness. Like, we had so much space, man. A couple of nice triangles with our fresh players. I really did think we could have got a killer instinct and put it to bed to not be in a situation we're in at the moment. But look, we have to sit back and enjoy it, boys. We haven't won a game since 2010, mate. We're scoring from open play. We got 3 points on the board, and we're alive on the last day, mate. This hasn't happened in years. I'm on cloud nine. I'm so happy for the boys, mate. Everyone should be lapping it up. Don't worry if it was a dirty win, if it was a good win. We got the 3 points. We needed to win this game, and we've done it. That's it.
100%. It's at the end of the day, the result is what counts. 3 points from beautiful football are great. 3 points maybe from more pragmatic football, also just as great. RJ, overall, what were your thoughts on the Tunisians? They didn't seem to stress us too much. They had Kazri on the bench, who is a very creative player and a goal scorer. I just felt like they couldn't really break us down. We were quite well set up at the back. Do you think they were a little bit unlucky, or do you think they just weren't creative enough?
No, I wouldn't say unlucky. There was a couple of moments where we made the last-ditch tackles, and there was a couple of good saves from Matty Ryan, of course, and that comes part and parcel with teams both going for it. Like, we're always going to concede an opportunity, but the ebb and flow of the game, that we were largely in control of things, and I just thought we were very defensively disciplined. We were structured. We were very rarely over-pressing or committing too much because we're worried about, being caught out and having that unstructured line. But overall, I think they were struggling to come up with their own creative nous to be able to break us down. There were a few opportunities, but overall, we were the more comfortable. And in fact, in that second half, when they threw more bodies forward because they were chasing, because it was do or die, I think the horrible decision-making that we're referring to is the fact that we weren't clinical enough in those decisive moments. We shouldn't have had to be hanging on by the skin of our teeth, because on another day with some better decision-making, we win by 2 or 3 goals in the end. So, look, like you said, the result is the number one important thing here, but we can't be complacent because we've got better opposition coming up against Denmark. But at the same time, you've got to give credit where it's due. And I thought overall, defensively, very strong. Midfield, Moy controlled things on a string.
Moy stepped up.
We said that he was the number one important player that's really going to make things ticking. Look, I think if I'm going to have a bit of a criticism, because you've got to have some criticism, wasn't the perfect performance, perfect result, not perfect performance. I think there still needs to be a little bit more proactiveness with the timing of the substitution.
100%.
I was jumping up and down at the TV at Rob's place and on the group chat saying, Lecky is tired, get him off the bloody field. It's annoying me. The poor bloke's run himself into the ground. He missed that chance. He went over on the ground holding his hamstring. Get these players on. We've got some good impact players. Stop mucking around and get them off before it's too late.
And I want to come to you about the refereeing in a minute, Rob, but there's a bunch of legends in the live chat at the moment. We're going to come to man of the match very soon. So make sure, put your man of the match in the chat and let us know why that's your man of the match. What did you make of the refereeing, Robbie? For me, I was thrilled, man. I thought he did a great job. He let both teams be physical. I felt both teams could have picked up some more yellows, but I'm always whinging about consistency. I thought he let things go for both teams. I thought he was very consistent. Were you happy with the reffing?
100% agree with you, man. Like I said, I think he knew that, especially Tunisia, were going to come into this really physical, and it was nice to see Australia go toe-to-toe with the physicality as well. And look, he gave a lot of warnings, but he didn't get the yellow card. He wasn't card happy, which I like, man. It's a World Cup. This was a big game for both teams. And you let them kind of, box it out on the pitch, which we wanted to do. That was a pretty decently clean game. There was no violence. There was no, people going in for punch-ons and stuff. They're just two teams that were at it that wanted to win for their country, and we were lucky enough to come on top. And the referee did a good job, in my opinion.
100%. Just to go through some stats, boys, before we get to man of the match. Considering how deep we retreated in the second half, and understand why we did that, they only had 54% possession and they only mustered 4 shots on target. So there's a lot of talk going on about how we were turning the ball over a lot and how maybe we weren't dominant, but 54% possession to Tunisia and 4 shots on target, considering we basically didn't leave our box for the last 20 minutes, I think we can be happy with that. And at some point, you've got to acknowledge the heart. We said it on the show the other night, technically, we're one of the worst teams at this cup, but we do have passion, we do have heart, and we can defend. So I was quite happy with that. I'm not buying into any slander about Moy and Bajic turning the ball over. Yes,
to me,
you can tell Porch is very impressed with this performance. Just lap it up, man. We're Australian, mate. Just lap it up.
Don't worry about the performance, man. Because there were elements like, let's be perfectly honest. Did they have some turnovers? Could they have made some better decisions on counters? Of course. Does any team play with perfection? But overall, were there not a lot of good passages of play and elements? I think there was plenty of good positive things to reflect on. So I don't know. You've got to be a little bit balanced here. And I think we're being a bit too critical if we start going that this was a bad performance, lucky result. Because I think we fully earned that win.
100%. Look, I don't know what levels people expect us to hit. For me, competing to get out of the group, maybe getting out right now in 2022, that is where we should be. It was a pragmatic performance. So at the end of the day, a good performance is one that gets you 3 points. That's what we've got, 3 points. Football's coming home. The concierge saying we're Australia, not Brazil, and I think we need to be realistic.
You know what as well, Scott? Sorry to jump in, but that kind of commentary annoys me to an extent because that first half an hour, mate, there was some really slick movement and stuff going on. Like we were totally dominant from back to front, and with Moy, in the second half there were elements where he was getting a bit tired, etc. But he was playing box to box. Some of the defensive contributions he made, and there were moments, particularly in that the late part of that half, where he either drew the foul or he was able to play the pass that actually opened up the space. So there were moments where I actually thought, on the overall balance, we played quite well. We weren't decisive, and that's what I think really disturbs me the most.
We've exceeded expectations for me. I went into the World Cup and I said I'll literally be happy if we score from open play. That's an upgrade from the last World Cup. We've scored 2 nice goals from open play now, and we've got 3 points on the board. I told you this hasn't been done since 2010. Honestly, this is massive. Duke's goal is going to go down our history as a massive moment, man. I don't know. I'm lapping it up, boys. I'm on a high. I'm happy with it.
And boys, to look at it tactically, right, we played in that first half with a really aggressive press. And I think a lot of our success came from that press. Their midfield was non-existent. We were shutting them down. We were getting into the passing lanes. That press was brilliant. My criticism of Graham Arnold would be I thought the subs could have come a little bit sooner.
100%.
Because the team looked busted. Lecky looked shattered. Duke was tired. We pressed so hard in that first half that we did fatigue. And I think that fatigue is what caused the turnovers. That's where that's come from. Like you've got to understand, if you're going to play pressing football, you're going to fatigue. We're seeing that with Liverpool at the moment, like not to go into the Premier League, but pressing football comes with fatigue. And for me, Arnold probably should have made the subs quicker. But with what's happened tonight, 3 points that I didn't think we'd get, I'm going to enjoy them and lap them up.
Yeah, and there's some learning opportunities too, like in the sense, like let's just say they were up again. Like this, remember, both games in a row now, we scored first. If we happen to do this again against Denmark, there's definitely some analysis and improvement opportunities in terms of the game management at times, because we're not always going to get all these opportunities. But that one at the end where we had the 2-on-1 situation, we had the chance, just run it to the corner. No, we cut back in, use the ball, and then concede another counter attack. So there are these game management situations where if I'm Grant Arnold, say, look, we've got to be smarter here. Let's not try to be too creative or indecisive. Be pragmatic. And even at the back, there was that time when we were trying to be too cute and cushion the ball back to Matt Ryan, and we almost conceded. When it's dangerous, kick the ball out. Don't be cute. Get rid of it.
Don't play out from the back, man. Again, straight away, Matt Ryan, he made me nervous a few times that night. I don't know, he didn't look confident coming off his line.
He did well, though. He saved a few shots.
No, I didn't say shot stopping, but I just
distribution.
Off his line, man, jump in. Even like I said, a few times again, he went to play it out from the back. I'm like, bro, you should have learned from last time against France. Don't just 1-0 up. It was already nerve-wracking as we didn't have a second cushion goal. Just play it down there, play in their half of the field, man. Play it safe. But
Spot on. Look,
Yeah.
we're going to wrap this up very shortly. We're just going to give our man of the match and give you guys a chance to put yours in the chat if you haven't already. Make sure you smash a like on the video as well. It helps get the content out there. What better content to get out there than celebrating a Socceroos win? For me, boys, I'll kick it off. Suter was my man of the match. I feel like there's a few guys whose name could have been said, but the way he just so calmly kept that back line in order, that slide tackle he made late in the game, that was fantastic. And we were inviting pressure again for about the last 20 minutes. At no point did I feel they'd score. He just ran the show at the back, and he's setting himself up for a move to a bigger club. There's no doubt about it. He was my clear man of the match. What about you, Robbie?
Yeah, look, I'm going to say, for me, it's the moment, mate. Moments go down in history. I mean, I'm giving it to a good friend of the show, Mitch Duke, mate. I told you that header got us the points at the end of the day. Even if it's, everyone was bragging and bragging about Richarlison the other day. It's his moment that got like the special goal. This is a special moment for Australia. Big goal. He's getting my man of the match for that moment.
Duke's a better player, clearly. You'd start Duke over Richarlison every day of the week. What about you, RJ?
The Duke of Australia, mate. That's his new name from now on.
The goal was straight out of the West, mate. We love it.
I reckon we've got to get him back on soon to hear about it. But for me, look, you guys covered who I would have picked. But if I had a third in line, controversially, I would go with Aaron Moy. I thought he was a conductor. He was so important to what we did. And like I said, there were some moments where he probably had a bit too much time and got a little bit too clever. But overall, defensive contribution, very solid. And some of the passing he did to create the openings, mate, he's a top quality player for what we're working with.
I like Trippy there, mate, with the good old Dom Toretto quote. Winning's winning, mate. That's it.
I think that's a great way to end the show. Winning is winning. Australia are the winners this evening. There's another match kicking off in, a few minutes? God, half an hour. 37 minutes to go, boys. The grind is real, but for me, I'm making my way over to bed because I'm sitting the next one out. I'm busted. You enjoyed that game, though, boys. Tell me it wasn't your favourite of the cup.
Aussie, 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 Aussie.
Come on, you Socceroos. Come on. One more.
Make sure you smash a like on the video, share it around, and if you're watching this back, tell us who your man of the match was and why. We hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you again at the end of match day 2. So keep an eye out for the video on our socials. Take care. Enjoy your football. Come on, Socceroos.
Up Australia.